Hello there, fellow coin enthusiasts and collectors. Welcome back to the channel World Rare Coins, where we dive deep into the world of rare and valuable coins that could be worth a small fortune. From hidden gems that could be worth a fortune to little-known coins with a rich history, we'll explore it all. And if you're new to our channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on any of our exciting discoveries. And now grab your magnifying glasses and let's start our today's video. On top one, we're diving into the fascinating story of one of the most iconic and sought-after coins in American numismatics, the United States 1965 quarter dollar. This seemingly unassuming coin is more than just a piece of currency. It's a key part of American history and a true gem for collectors. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the 1965 quarter is worth far more than its face value, and just how much it can fetch in today's market. Stay with me until the end, because the big reveal might surprise you. Let's begin with a bit of context. The year 1965 was a transformative one for the United States, both politically and economically. The country was in the midst of the civil rights movement, with significant strides toward equality being made. At the same time, the country was also grappling with the growing tensions of the Cold War and the escalation of the Vietnam War. The social and political climate of the 1960s was anything but stable, but there was one thing that Americans could count on during this tumultuous time. Their coins. 1965 was a pivotal year for U.S. coinage because it marked the end of an era for the silver content used in everyday circulating coins. Prior to 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver, but that year, due to rising silver prices, the U.S. Mint began striking quarters with a new composition, copper-nickel. This change was part of a larger move to reduce the amount of silver used in American currency, and it would have a profound impact on the future of coin collecting. The 1965 quarter, produced with this new copper-nickel composition, is a fascinating piece of numismatic history. It was the first quarter to be struck without silver since the introduction of the coin in 1796, and this shift in metal composition created a lot of excitement among collectors, not just because of the change in materials, but also because of the unique circumstances surrounding the minting process that year. In 1965, the U.S. Mint was under intense pressure to produce large quantities of coins quickly. The decision to reduce silver content came after the government had already made substantial changes to the nation's coinage system. The Mint faced a surge in demand for coins during this period, and the shift in metal composition was meant to alleviate the economic pressure caused by silver shortages. Because of this high demand, quarters struck in 1965 were produced in large quantities, and they entered circulation en masse, meaning that many of these coins saw years of wear and tear. However, it was the few that were preserved in pristine condition that have become highly valuable in the modern coin market. Now, let's talk about the design of the 1965 quarter. The obverse, or front, of the coin features a familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. Washington, as the first president of the United States, has long been a symbol of the nation's leadership and ideals. His portrait has graced the quarter since 1932, and this design remained unchanged in 1965. The words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear around the image of Washington, with the year 1965 stamped beneath his bust. On the reverse side of the 1965 quarter, we find the traditional design of the eagle, which had been used on quarters for many years prior. The eagle is perched on an olive branch, a symbol of peace, and a bundle of arrows, which signifies strength. This side of the coin also includes the words United States of America and quarter dollar. The 1965 quarter's design is straightforward and reflective of its time, with nothing too flashy or experimental about it. But this coin, like many others, became valuable not because of its design, but because of the unique circumstances surrounding its minting. The 1965 quarter is often a topic of interest among collectors because of the historical context surrounding its creation. As I mentioned earlier, this coin was part of a significant shift in U.S. coinage history. The removal of silver from the coin was a huge deal, and it changed the way people viewed U.S. currency. This moment in time marks the end of an era, as silver had been used in U.S. coins for over 150 years. And while the new copper-nickel composition was initially a cause for concern among collectors, over time, it became clear that certain versions of the 1965 quarter were rare and valuable. One of the key factors that add to the value of the 1965 quarter is its rarity in pristine condition. While the 1965 quarter was struck in large quantities, most of them were used in daily circulation and saw significant wear. It's the uncirculated, well-preserved examples that are the real treasures. If you happen to find one of these quarters in pristine condition, it could fetch a higher price from collectors who are always on the lookout for well-kept specimens. Moreover, there are some notable minting errors associated with the 1965 quarter that can drastically increase its value. For example, there have been reports of double strikes, where the coin was struck twice by the minting press, creating a misaligned or blurry image on the coin. Such errors are incredibly rare, and collectors pay a premium for them. If you come across a 1965 quarter with an unusual feature or error, it could be worth much more than a standard quarter. But the real question that most collectors ask is, how much is a 1965 quarter worth today? Given its historical significance, its rarity and uncirculated condition, and its potential for minting errors, the value of a 1965 quarter can be astonishing. A well-preserved 1965 quarter, especially one with a unique minting error, can be worth a staggering $74,000. Yes, that's right, $74,000 for a single coin. Imagine stumbling upon a quarter that's worth so much more than its face value. That's the magic of coin collecting. You never know what hidden treasures lie within your collection or in your pocket change. The 1965 quarter stands as a symbol of a pivotal moment in American history and coinage, and it continues to capture the imaginations of collectors. Whether it's the first non-silver quarter or one with a rare minting error, the value of this coin has only continued to grow over time. If you have one in your possession, or if you're lucky enough to find one, you could be holding on to a small fortune. On top 2, we're about to embark on an exciting journey into the world of numismatics to explore a coin that holds a special place in American history, the United States 1967 quarter dollar. At first glance, this quarter may seem like just another coin from the 1960s, but it's so much more than that. It's a testament to a pivotal time in the U.S., both socially and economically. Stick with me until the end, as you won't believe the current value of this 1967 quarter. 1967 was a year of transformation for the United States, with major changes happening both in society and within the government. The country was deeply embroiled in the Vietnam War, and the cultural landscape was shifting rapidly due to the civil rights movement and the counterculture revolution. 1967 was also the year that President Lyndon B. Johnson declared the War on Poverty, a domestic policy initiative aimed at reducing poverty levels in the country. While all of these events were unfolding in the nation's political and social landscape, the United States Mint was quietly working to make significant changes to the nation's coinage. 1967 marked a year of great significance for U.S. currency, particularly when it came to the quarter dollar. The minting of the 1967 quarter, like many other coins of this era, holds clues to understanding a major shift that was taking place in American coinage during the mid-20th century. By the mid-1960s, the U.S. Mint was facing a dilemma. Silver, the metal that had been used for American coinage for over a century, was becoming increasingly expensive. The price of silver was rising rapidly, and in 1965, the U.S. government made a historic decision to reduce the silver content in most circulating coins, including the quarter. Instead of the traditional 90% silver, coins were struck using a combination of copper and nickel, marking the beginning of a new era in coin production. This shift in metal composition was significant not only because it impacted the look and feel of U.S. currency, but also because it was the first step in the creation of a more modern and cost-effective coinage system. The 1967 quarter was one of the last to carry silver in its composition, though it was still made with 40% silver. This made it unique in the world of coin collecting. The 1967 quarter is a prime example of this transitional period in U.S. coinage. Its silver content sets it apart from later issues, making it a much more valuable coin today compared to its copper-nickel successors. However, despite its value in the world of coin collectors, it was minted in large numbers, and most of the quarters produced that year were used in circulation. Over the decades, many of these quarters became worn and tarnished, reducing their overall value. But here's the key. If you manage to find a 1967 quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition, it could be worth a fortune. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of this fascinating coin. Like other quarters of its time, The 1967 quarter features the familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse, or front, of the coin. Washington, the first president of the United States, has graced the quarter since 1932. This portrait, created by artist John Flanagan, is an iconic image of American leadership and strength. Surrounding Washington's image are the words "Liberty" at the top and the motto "In God We Trust" below. The year 1967 is also stamped beneath Washington's portrait, making it easy to identify the coin. The obverse design remained relatively unchanged throughout the 1960s, as the mint opted to maintain this classic representation of the nation's founding figure. On the reverse of the 1967 quarter, we find the traditional eagle design. The eagle is perched on an olive branch, which symbolizes peace, and a bundle of arrows, representing strength and defense. This design was a nod to America's resilience and power. The words "United States of America" and "quarter dollar" are inscribed around the eagle, along with the E Pluribus Unum motto, which means "out of many, one," further emphasizing the unity of the country. This classic, simple design is what makes the 1967 quarter so attractive to collectors. However, the real value comes from the coin's composition and the historical context of its production. The 1967 quarter serves as a reminder of a time when silver was still part of U.S. currency before the country transitioned fully to copper-nickel coins. Now, let's talk about what really makes the 1967 quarter stand out in the world of coin collecting: the rarity and collector demand for high-quality examples. As I mentioned earlier, the majority of 1967 quarters were used in everyday transactions, and as a result, they became worn and damaged over time. The number of well-preserved coins from this year is relatively low, making them quite rare today. Coins that have been stored properly and remain in uncirculated condition are highly prized by collectors. In addition to the rarity of these coins, there are certain errors that can make the 1967 quarter even more valuable. Minting errors, such as double strikes, off-center coins, or coins with unusual die cracks, can dramatically increase the value of a coin. These types of errors are incredibly rare and sought after by collectors who are willing to pay top dollar for a unique piece with a history of its own. If you happen to come across a 1967 quarter with a minting error or in near-perfect condition, you could be holding a coin that is worth far more than its face value. But how much exactly is a 1967 quarter worth today? The value of a 1967 quarter can vary depending on its condition, minting errors, and demand among collectors. However, in top condition, a 1967 quarter can be worth an astonishing $70,000. Yes, you heard that right, $70,000 for a single coin. It's incredible to think that a coin that was once spent in daily transactions could now hold such immense value. The 1967 quarter is not just a piece of currency. It's a piece of American history that holds significance in the evolution of U.S. coinage. Whether it's the last quarter with silver content or a rare minting error, the 1967 quarter has earned its place in the hearts of collectors and continues to be one of the most coveted coins in the market today. On Top 3, we're diving deep into the world of U.S. currency with a special focus on the 1972 quarter. It's a coin that has a fascinating backstory, a unique design, and a surprising value today. While many quarters from this era are still in circulation or stashed away in coin jars, there's one 1972 quarter in particular that stands out from the rest. Stick around until the end, as I'm about to reveal just how much this quarter is worth now. The 1972 quarter is one of the most intriguing coins in the history of U.S. numismatics. To understand why, we first need to take a look at the historical context of the year 1972. The United States was in the middle of an era of social and political change. The country was still deeply involved in the Vietnam War, but at the same time, the Watergate scandal was beginning to unfold. The civil rights movement had made significant strides, and new discussions about women's rights and environmental concerns were coming to the forefront. It was a time of progress, conflict, and change, and these shifts also impacted the American economy and currency. At the same time, the U.S. Mint was continuing to produce quarters, which had been in circulation for over 200 years. However, the 1970s brought some significant changes in the production of coins, especially with the increasing costs of the metals used for minting. Silver, once a standard part of the quarter's composition, had been phased out of most circulating coins by the mid-1960s. In 1965, the U.S. government decided to switch most coins, including the quarter, to a composition made primarily of copper and nickel. This decision marked the beginning of a new era for American coinage, and the 1972 quarter was part of this new wave of production. The 1972 quarter, like other quarters minted in the early 70s, was made from a copper-nickel-clad composition. This meant that while the coin still had the same weight and appearance as its predecessors, it no longer contained silver. Despite this shift, the quarter remained an essential part of American currency, circulating widely in daily transactions and continuing to serve as a representation of the United States. But there was something about the 1972 quarter that would soon make it a highly sought-after piece for collectors. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1972 quarter. As with most quarters of the 20th century, the 1972 quarter features a portrait of George Washington on the obverse, or front, of the coin. This iconic image of Washington has been used on the quarter since 1932, when it was designed by artist John Flanagan. Washington, as the first president of the United States, is an enduring symbol of American leadership and democracy. The words "Liberty" appear at the top of the coin, and the motto "In God We Trust" is inscribed below Washington's portrait. The year 1972 is placed under Washington's neck, clearly indicating when this coin was minted. The overall look of the obverse is clean and simple, emphasizing the dignity and legacy of Washington. On the reverse side of the 1972 quarter, we find the familiar eagle design. The eagle is perched on an olive branch and a bundle of arrows, symbolizing peace and strength. The design, which was created by sculptor John R. Sinek, reflects the enduring ideals of American unity, power, and freedom. Around the eagle, we see the inscription United States of America, along with the words quarter dollar and E pluribus unum, the nation's motto that translates to out of many one. This combination of simplicity and symbolism on the 1972 quarter makes it a timeless piece of U.S. currency. It's a design that has endured for decades and remains deeply connected to the country's history and identity. But while the 1972 quarter is certainly a beautiful coin, it's the rarity and specific features of certain coins from this year that have caused them to become so valuable to collectors. As with any coin, the condition in which it is found plays a huge role in its value. Many 1972 quarters were circulated widely, which means that they've seen wear and tear over the years. These well-worn coins don't hold much value beyond their face value of 25 cents. However, the true gems among the 1972 quarters are those that remain in pristine, uncirculated condition. Finding an uncirculated 1972 quarter is rare, and it's this rarity that has driven up the demand among collectors. A coin in mint condition, free from scratches, nicks, or tarnish, is highly sought after because it's a piece of history that has been preserved for decades. Coins that are well preserved and show no signs of circulation are typically more valuable than those that have been used in everyday transactions. But the true appeal of the 1972 quarter doesn't just lie in its condition. There are also some particularly rare varieties of this coin that are worth far more than a standard 1972 quarter. One of the most famous varieties is the 1972 D. Denver Mint quarter, which has a unique characteristic that makes it stand out from the rest. A significant number of 1972 D quarters were struck with a slight doubling of the lettering on the obverse side of the coin. This doubling occurred when the coin was struck by the die with a slight misalignment, creating a double image effect. This error, known as double die, makes the 1972 D quarter with this characteristic especially valuable. Collectors who are aware of this error actively search for these coins, as they are considered to be a rare and unique piece of history. If you happen to find one of these double die 1972 D quarters in excellent condition, you could be holding a coin that's worth far more than its original face value. Now, let's get to the most exciting part. How much is the 1972 quarter worth today? While most 1972 quarters are worth their face value of 25 cents, certain rare specimens have sold for impressive amounts. If you find a 1972 quarter that is in pristine, uncirculated condition, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars. And if you happen to come across a 1972 D quarter with a double die error, the value skyrockets. In fact, a well-preserved 1972 D double die quarter can be worth up to $68,000. That's right, $68,000. It's incredible to think that a coin that was once used for everyday purchases could now fetch such a high price. This just goes to show how much the world of coin collecting has grown in recent years and how valuable these rare and historic coins have become to us. If you have any 1972 quarters lying around in your coin collection, it might be time to take a closer look. You just might have a hidden treasure on your hands. Whether it's a rare error coin or simply an uncirculated example in fantastic condition, the 1972 quarter is one of those coins that can truly make a difference to your collection. On top 4, we're taking a closer look at a coin that has fascinated collectors for decades, the United States quarter dollar from 1974. It's a coin that, like many others from the 1970s, holds a special place in U.S. history and the world of numismatics. But there's more to this coin than just its simple design. Whether you've stumbled upon a few of these in your change jar, or you're an avid collector, this quarter has a story and a value you might not have expected. Stick around as we dive into the history, design, and appeal of the 1974 quarter, and stick with us until the end when we reveal just how much this coin is worth today. First, let's set the stage with some historical context. The year 1974 was a pivotal time in the United States. The country was in the midst of a decade of political and social upheaval, with the aftermath of the Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal creating a sense of uncertainty and change. At the same time, the U.S. economy was experiencing inflation, and the country was transitioning from the silver standard in its coinage to more affordable and durable materials. These were the conditions under which the 1974 quarter was minted. By 1974, the U.S. government had already moved away from using silver in most circulating coins, and the quarter was no exception. After the Coinage Act of 1965, which removed silver from most U.S. coins, the 1974 quarter, like its predecessors since then, was struck from a copper-nickel-clad composition. This change was largely driven by rising silver prices, making it increasingly expensive to produce coins with the precious metal. But while the material of the coin may have changed, its role in everyday life remained just as crucial. The 1974 quarter was part of the daily transactions of American citizens, whether used for small purchases, vending machines, or as part of pocket change. The quarter had been a key component of U.S. currency since its inception in 1796, and in 1974, it continued to serve as a symbol of both tradition and modernity. Now that we have a bit of historical background, let's take a closer look at the design of the 1974 quarter. The design features the iconic portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, on the obverse, or front, of the coin. This image, created by artist John Flanagan, has been in use since 1932 and remains one of the most recognizable features of U.S. coinage. Washington is depicted in profile, with the words "Liberty" inscribed at the top of the coin and the motto, "In God We Trust" below. The year, 1974, is also placed on the obverse, indicating the coin's mintage year. The reverse of the 1974 quarter features the classic eagle design, which has been a fixture on U.S. coinage since the early 20th century. The eagle is depicted perched on an olive branch, symbolizing peace, with a bundle of arrows in the other talon, representing strength and defense. Surrounding the eagle are the inscriptions United States of America, quarter dollar, and E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many one. These elements together represent the unity, strength, and ideals of the United States. The 1974 quarter, like many coins from this period, was struck in large numbers and circulated widely. However, as time has passed, finding these coins in pristine, uncirculated condition has become increasingly rare. Most quarters from the 1970s, including the 1974 version, show signs of wear and age due to heavy circulation. This is why finding a well-preserved example of the 1974 quarter is such an exciting prospect for collectors. But what sets the 1974 quarter apart from other coins from this era? There are a few key features that make it particularly interesting for collectors. First, as we've already mentioned, the 1974 quarter is made of a copper-nickel-clad composition. While this may not sound like much, the transition to this composition marked a significant shift in U.S. coinage, and collectors appreciate the historical importance of this change. Another important factor is the quality of the minting process. In the 1970s, the U.S. Mint was still refining its processes, which means that some coins from this era have slight variations or imperfections in their design. While most of these variations may not be noticeable to the casual observer, collectors pay close attention to details like die shifts, small design changes, or other minting errors. These small imperfections can greatly increase a coin's value, especially if they are rare or unique. Now, let's talk about the condition of the coin. As with any coin, the condition in which it is found plays a huge role in its value. A well-circulated 1974 quarter, especially one that shows signs of wear and tarnish, may not be worth much more than its face value of 25 cents. However, a 1974 quarter in excellent, uncirculated condition can command a much higher price. A coin that has been kept in pristine condition, free from any damage or tarnish, is far more valuable to collectors. But the 1974 quarter also has a secret that many collectors aren't aware of. There's a rare variety of the coin that is worth significantly more than the standard issue. The 1974 quarter features a small but important detail that distinguishes it from other quarters. Some coins from the 1974 mintage were struck with a slight error that led to a double image of the lettering on the obverse side of the coin. This error, known as a double die, occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, causing a double strike on the coin's design. The double die error on the 1974 quarter is one of the most sought-after varieties for collectors, and finding one in excellent condition can significantly increase the coin's value. This particular error is considered quite rare, and coins with this feature are highly prized by numismatists. A 1974 quarter with a double die error can fetch thousands of dollars on the market, depending on its condition. So, how much is a 1974 quarter worth today? While most 1974 quarters are worth only their face value of 25 cents, coins in exceptional condition or with rare minting errors can be worth far more. If you happen to come across a 1974 quarter in uncirculated condition or one with the double die error, you could be looking at a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. The value of a 1974 quarter with this error can reach as high as $65,000. That's right, $65,000 for a single coin. So, if you have any 1974 quarters lying around, it's definitely worth checking to see if you have a rare or uncirculated example in your collection. You could be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. On Top 5, we're diving deep into a coin that holds both historical and financial significance, the United States quarter dollar from 1979. While you may have come across this coin during your everyday transactions, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. What many don't realize is that this coin is a rare find for collectors, with a fascinating story, intricate design, and even an impressive market value. The 1979 quarter is part of a unique period in American history. The 1970s were marked by significant economic, political, and cultural shifts in the United States. From the aftermath of the Vietnam War to the rise of the Watergate scandal and the growing global tensions of the Cold War, the 1970s was a decade of change. In terms of coinage, the nation was also transitioning in the way it produced its money, with an ongoing shift from using precious metals like silver to more economical and durable materials. In 1965, a pivotal moment in U.S. coin history occurred with the passing of the Coinage Act, which eliminated silver from most circulating coins, including the quarter. By 1979, the quarter dollar was fully composed of a copper-nickel-clad mixture, designed to be durable and cost-effective for everyday transactions. But just because the coin wasn't minted with silver doesn't mean it doesn't hold an interesting place in American numismatic history. The 1979 quarter is a part of the larger family of Washington quarters, a design that has been featured on the quarter since 1932. Created by sculptor John Flanagan, the obverse, front, of the coin showcases a profile of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The simplicity and dignity of Washington's image have made it one of the most recognizable figures on U.S. coinage. The reverse of the 1979 quarter features the iconic bald eagle, a national symbol representing strength, courage, and freedom. With an olive branch in one talon and a bundle of arrows in the other, the eagle is a perfect representation of the United States' resilience and commitment to peace, but also its readiness to defend itself. The coin also includes the phrases "E pluribus unum," out of many, one, and United States of America, emphasizing the unity of the nation. While the design of the 1979 quarter is consistent with quarters minted in previous years, there's something about the 1979 version that has captured the attention of coin collectors. You see, by this time, the United States had been producing these quarters for decades, and while the design remained constant, there were small variations in the way the coins were minted. It's these tiny differences that often go unnoticed by the casual observer but are the key to the coin's appeal in the collector's market. Let's talk about the minting process for the 1979 quarter. By this point, the U.S. Mint had refined its techniques, using modern technology and processes to create thousands, if not millions, of coins every year. The 1979 quarter was struck at multiple mints, including the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco facilities. Each mint used slightly different methods, and this can lead to variations in the coin's appearance, from minor changes in the sharpness of the design to small differences in the way the metal flowed during the minting process. For collectors, these variations are key. They might be looking for a coin from a specific mint, or perhaps a quarter with a particular flaw or irregularity. In fact, coins that were struck with minting errors often fetch a much higher price because they are considered rare and unique. Collectors value these error coins for their distinctiveness, and they are frequently considered the holy grail for numismatists searching for rare additions to their collections. So, what makes the 1979 quarter stand out in the world of coin collecting? First and foremost, it's the rarity of the coin in pristine condition. As time passes, most coins that were released into circulation show signs of wear. It's nearly impossible to find a quarter that hasn't been used for countless transactions and passed through many hands. Coins that have been preserved in uncirculated, mint condition are highly sought after because they represent the coin as it was when it was originally struck. Now, let's not forget about the value of the 1979 quarter. While most quarters are worth only their face value of 25 cents, some are worth much more, especially those that are rare or in excellent condition. The 1979 quarter, in particular, has become a collector's item, with uncirculated coins or those with minting errors commanding significant prices. If you happen to stumble across a 1979 quarter in exceptional condition or with an error, you could be holding on to a small fortune. The 1979 quarter is one of those coins that doesn't just tell the story of its time. It also holds potential for a large financial return. To give you an idea of how valuable the 1979 quarter can be, if you come across one in near-perfect, uncirculated condition or with a rare error, it could be worth a staggering $60,000. That's right, $60,000. For a single quarter that was minted more than 40 years ago, you could be holding onto a piece of American history that's worth much more than its original 25-cent value. So, what should you do if you find a 1979 quarter in your collection or your change jar? First, examine its condition closely. Is it in great shape, with minimal wear or discoloration? Does it have any unusual marks or signs of a minting error, such as doubled lettering or misaligned designs? These are the kinds of details that can increase its value dramatically. If you suspect that you might have an error coin or one in exceptional condition, consider having it appraised by a professional or submitting it to a grading service to get an accurate valuation. Whether you've been collecting coins for years or you've just started your journey into the world of numismatics, the 1979 quarter is a great example of why coin collecting is so exciting. Coins like these not only tell the story of our country's history, but also have the potential to appreciate in value over time. They represent a unique intersection of art, history, and economics, making them incredibly attractive to collectors and investors alike. The 1979 quarter has withstood the test of time, and it continues to be a sought-after coin in the world of numismatics. From its historical context to its elegant design, this coin offers a glimpse into a defining era in U.S. history. But the best part is the discovery that it could be worth much more than you initially thought. For those lucky enough to find one in top condition or with a rare minting error, the 1979 quarter can fetch a remarkable price in today's market, $60,000. So, next time you're rummaging through your spare change or flipping through your coin collection, keep an eye out for that 1979 quarter. You might just be holding on to a valuable piece of history. Thanks for joining me today in this deep dive into the 1979 quarter. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you can stay updated on future coin discoveries. Happy collecting, and who knows? You could be the next lucky person to find a rare coin worth a small fortune.